Hello, familia. Welcome. My name is MagdalineJanet. If you're new, welcome to the fam. Please don't forget to like and subscribe because we're always here having a good time. And come visit me on TikTok and Instagram because I'm there daily. And of course, welcome back to our oldies but goodies. Guess what? This is my first ever dupes video. I've never done it in the 6.5 years I've been on YouTube. I cannot believe it. So when it comes to dupes, I'm going to look at texture, look, and how it applies. They might not physically look the same. This is my first one. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but let's see. So this is the drugstore side. It's gonna be the side with the no piercings. High-end is gonna be the side with the piercing. When I reviewed this one, I'm like, it immediately reminds me of this one. This is so good, the Rare Beauty Brow Gel. It literally holds your hairs because as you can see, look, I have very sparse, light brows. And of course, this makeup tutorial is Latina brown skin friendly because I have a neutral undertone. A lot of products appear differently on my skin tone than you'll see it on the pencil or the pen. Maybelline, this one's about $10, $12. Rare Beauties is, I believe, $18. Rare Beauty isn't too expensive considering they're a high-end brand. You want to let it dry a little bit. Let me hurry up and kind of do each brow. Rare Beauty, I'm just gonna brush it up. What you want to do is press and brush. Press and brush. This way you get that laminated eyebrow look. My eyebrows aren't even, so let's account for that too. You see how flat up against the skin it is versus Rare Beauty. I will say this is the better brow. This brow has more hair. This brow's struggling. Are they the same? Oh, I love eyebrow pens because I have sparse areas and the actual ink is able to get those very, very thin lines. A brow pencil can never do that, which is why I personally prefer this. If you have thicker brows, a pencil's probably better. Blends in with your hair better. This blends in with my lack of hair better. I honestly cannot find a brow pen that is this good than the NYX. So there's no dupe. What is it called when the actual dupe is better than what's out there? I did see the Anastasia Beverly Hills one. She has one. It is the same shade, but this tip, it's not as thin. You see the pen tip? You see how thin that is? ABH's is not that thin. Bypass the brows. Brows are done, just the pen. Primers. I just reviewed this one and remember in the video I said it reminds me of this one. Oh my gosh, it looks the same. Look, just different colors. What? I mean, when I saw it, I remember looking at this, I'm like, it reminds me of something, but I didn't know what. Oh my God. Okay, I don't know the prices off the bat. This has to be like $10 or something. Look. Oh my gosh, they both have like that cold feeling. This is Huda, this is Milani. So this is a blurring primer from Milani. We're gonna blur the skin up. I like that it's super lightweight. It feels wet and it just goes transparent on your skin, no white cast. Now let me clean my hand off. Let's go with Huda. I've had this Huda one for a while, like a long while. Oh look, you see that blurring? It feels the same, very lightweight. It feels wet too. Silicone-free smoothing primer. It feels a little thicker. Oh, keep sealed for freshness. Oh, I'm so happy I kept that because girl. They both feel wet. They both feel the same. Milani, Huda. Let's let this dry. You always want your primers to dry down. I'm loving how like hydrating the skin looks too, huh? The cafecitos on deck. Oh, the both sides are kind of sticky. Highlight, glow, liquid, glow. I really like this one. I just love the texture. It's thin. It gives you glow. It's not glittery. I have oily skin. I'm not the biggest fan of these. But then I am at the same time. Like, I don't go looking for like the hottest glow, but I use it. You know, let me show you some swatches. Textures not as similar. This is Charlotte Tilbury's. The beauty of hers has a thicker texture, but at the same time it shears out. This is Catrice's. You see how it's a little transparent here? But I think for me, that's the beauty because it just lays on the skin so lightweight. Another glow, high-end glow that I like is this one. I think this one is better than this one. Dior is very similar to Charlotte Tilbury. I like that thicker texture, which I like. I think it provides more coverage and that's how you can wear it more as a lightweight foundation. I don't ever wear these as foundation. You can. I love Catrice. So now that our primer has dried down, we're gonna add a little bit of glow here. And this is great for layering. Lightweight products are always gonna be fantastic to layer because layering your makeup thinly is how it's gonna last all day. It's gonna look good all day. It's not gonna look cakey. It's gonna be your tone, because layering on brown skin, that is the key for your makeup to look beautiful. One layer, it could look nice, but when you layer slowly, that's the key. These are my favorite brushes. These are It Cosmetics. There's no dupe for these, not yet. Drugstore brushes that I always talk about and I love are Real Techniques. Buy those are bomb. By the way, this cup is my Beetlejuice cup I got. It's linked on my Amazon store because it's available on Amazon. You know, you always want to let things sit, and we are going to just blend away. Because this is my first dupes video, I really wanted to make it good, legit. I didn't want to dupe things out because they come in similar packaging, or they just recently came out and they kind of sort of look alike. I really thought about this. I like created my list and I thought about the list for like 3 days. I'm like, okay, do I have this? But is this in that? Charlotte Tilbury's is nice, look. It's very smoothing. I didn't want to use the e.l.f. one either because everyone uses that. We know the e.l.f. is good too. Let's let this dry. Let's grab the foundation. What do we think? I think these are it because they are pigmented, lightweight. They feel like skin because they're pigmented. They're obviously foundation. Shades are gonna be off. Well, Huda Beauty's Macchiato shade, which is the shade I use, is very warm. This one's kind of warm too. So we're gonna go Huda Beauty on the end of my hand and then e.l.f. in the middle. So e.l.f., Huda. I want you to see that texture. Very, very similar. You see how they're thick, but they move? The thickness gives us an idea of how the pigment's gonna be. The movability, so to speak, what's gonna glide and feel natural-ish on the skin. Let's do e.l.f. maybe do like this. Now with my hand, I wanna just rub it in. Feels nice, how nicely it glides. And just blend it out so it's nice and even. Huda Beauty. And then now with the other hand, let's blend out Huda. Huda Beauty's texture is a smidge thicker, so then we're just gonna blend around. Huda immediately gives good coverage. Also, Charlotte Tilbury is giving coverage too. What I want to do is add a little bit here. We're gonna let that dry down so we get more pigment. This is the brush I was using for e.l.f., right? The white one. Damn, this side's looking so good. This side, you can see my hyperpigmentation, my dark spots. Because I have brown skin and I inherited these hyperpigmentation spots, melasma, from my mom, we need a pigmented foundation and a foundation that is correct in shade to help us cover this up. You see how nice and smooth this is? Granted, this is the side with the pigment, you know. Talking about discoloration and melasma, I always have to color correct a lot of parts of my face. These two I feel like are very similar, well, more texture than shade. Milani's is gonna be the one closest to my thumb. Huda Beauty Peach is gonna be closest to my pinky. This is Milani. You see how it's like a pumpkin? Orange? Peach! Peach. Shades are a little different. One is like orange, one is peach, but that's what we got here going, okay? Milani's texture is a little bit thinner. That's what I'm noticing with Drugstore. The textures are thinner. They're not as thick. It doesn't mean that it lacks pigment, it's just texture. But for sure, things that are more pigmented tend to be thicker. Peach on the right. Is this the color I want? This is peach, yeah. It looks a little pinky. My discoloration right here, it's like out of control. My under eyes are blues, purples. Peach and orange/yellow tend to color correct that. It's gonna make our skin look even. That's when we go in with our other product. When it comes to this, I like to let it really, really dry because the longer you let it dry, the more it adheres to your skin. When it comes to sponges, this I find is the dupiest dupe of Beauty Blender. They are very different in shape. This is literally an egg. This is a little, I don't know, another egg. Textures of both of these are literally the same, and the reason I say that is because it's rare when this one rips. The only time this one will completely rip or disintegrate is when I've used it for way too long, which I need to replace it anyway. The same goes for this one. I find that a lot of drugstore sponges rip so quickly because the quality is just not there. Quality of both of these are literally the same. This is the only one I use other than the Beauty Blender. I like a good quality sponge because I use sponges so often. I can't be blending my makeup and then it disintegrates or a piece comes off or it sheds on my face. No. I am so excited for this video. Let me sip my coffee. dry long enough, we're gonna get Milani with the e.l.f. sponge. Beauty blender with the Huda Beauty. I'm just gonna add a little bit here. The Huda Beauty is a little bit thicker. I'm gonna add a little more Milani. We need to cover these ojeras. Color correctors, personally, I like them to be thinner consistency because it helps to start off our base kind of strong, which is how the layering process is gonna happen. This thin layer of color corrector is great to even out the skin, but then we're also gonna go in with concealers, powders. While we let this dry down, cream bronzers I found, these are similar. I wouldn't say like they're dupe enough. So we have here MAC. And then we have here L'Oreal True Match. MAC is a little bit creamier and it has a bit of a thicker texture, very slight. These are very, very similar. They're just as pigmented as one another. The colors are a little bit different. When it comes to L'Oreal True Match, they really have like a great match. We're gonna dot, 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 dot. Let me show you the doe foots. They are different. They're both very different doe foots that I find work. And then MAC, this side. MAC shade is perfect. This is the shade MC58, a shade matched by a professional. And this one I picked myself. This shade I like too. Actually, no, I was shade matched with this too. L'Oreal sent this one over. And I'm like, okay, girl, y'all guys, the good color. I should have got my brushes ready too, but I didn't. 47 from Sephora collection. They look dirty, but I just kind of wiped them down. L'Oreal's has more of a dry down texture to it than the MAC, which is why I'm going first. And then the nose. I always add too much on the nose, so whatever remains, I'm just gonna add it here. And I try to keep it up high. My ears typically the stopping point. I don't want to go past that area. Does it happen sometimes? Yes. So let's blend out MAC. L'Oreal's concealer is about $12 versus MAC. I think it's 20, like $8.29. We're trying to save our dollar bills. Guys, I'm going to an event today. Look, I didn't even blend this side. I just kind of left. And I'm like really hoping this makeup comes out similar, which I think it will. I'm gonna have to blend that. But let's go back to the ojeras. Blend that out. Quick hack. I'll put the cream bronzer at the end, blend it out, and it's gonna start my base for my everyday makeup look. This way too, you can start blending it out with that nose contour that looks so harsh. It looks harsh because we also haven't put our concealer on. This is just gonna give you a wash of color. That's why I only added at the end, because everything else, products spread. So we're gonna just add that. Yeah, I feel like MAC packs a little more punch than L'Oreal, but it's okay. All right, all right, all right. A liquid blush that I feel like are dupes, Rare Beauty and e.l.f. I don't know if e.l.f. is like the exact dupe, and I've done a video like that. I'm like, let's change it up. So Milani just released these Cheek Kiss Liquid Blush Glow. Tarte has this liquid blush that they released. See, peach here. These blush glows is that. It's a blush glow that is very, very subtle. It's not very pigmented. Well, it can be. These shades are way off. Hold on, let me get something closer. Luminoso. Tarte, this is Luminoso. Very, 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 very similar. You see in texture too. These are very subtle. We're just gonna do this number here and then Tarte. And when it comes to liquids, you want to really let this dry down. We get that full pigment too. It really helps us get that pigment. While this dries, I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee and find a brush. To blend Luminoso. You could barely see Luminoso on my skin tone. I need something deeper. I don't have something deeper and I wanna just keep the vibes here. Wow, that's similar. Luminoso's too light for my skin tone. This is why doing brown skin makeup is important, because you can't really see it. For example, let's use Canela, the one I just showed you. Let me just add a little bit. I'm gonna mix some. These are also sheer. You see how Canela added more color to my cheek? Here, let's just add more. Wow, that's pretty though. Ooh. Luckily, Milani has a bunch of shades. So does Tarte. The Tarte one I purchased a while ago and I only have one. If I had other shades, I would demo those for you. Ooh, the cheeks are cheeking. Very doopy. Doopish? Doopiest? You know what I mean. I am a concealer girl. And the one I found to be Hourglass's dupe, Milani. I just tried Milani's out. I was wowed on the pigment and the texture. I love a good thick creamy consistency in concealer. I'm in the shade 145 Warm Beige. Warm tone concealer will also help color correct because it has a little bit of yellow to it, so that yellow will also color correct the darkness that we have here, a little bit bare. And this is the shade Sienna from Hourglass. The shade is Literal Perfection. This one's more of a neutral undertone. The actual tone is great. You can see the differences in tone. Milani's, the one underneath this one, I believe is 135. It's too light. The Hourglass one, I've let it dry down for like 10 minutes because one time I like completely forgot and it never really dries down matte. So let's see. As I'm noticing, especially when we compare Drugstore and Highend, Drugstore lacks or decent good shades. I wish Milani had better shades in their concealer. They've done a better job with the foundation. Let's blend and see if textures are the same. I think they are. Oh yeah, look. The way you know is if your concealer is good and movable. In my opinion, I think that's a good concealer. Something that is movable and workable. Oh wait, I didn't put some in the middle. We're just gonna add it like that. If you let it dry down and it's not stuck, and you see it's not stuck. Here I'm going to blend. Okay, yeah, these are very similar. Whew. Hourglass shade is perfect. There's no other perfect shade for me, but when it comes to texture, it is similar to this $10 concealer. This is like 30 something. Well, we know Hourglass is expensive. I'm not like a big dupe person because I feel like a lot of times having a dupe is very specific. I don't think everything is dupeable. I think there's things that are similar, but not to say like, yo, this is the same. I would say this concealer would be the same if they had better shades, but textures and consistency is the same. And it also depends, what do you think is a dupe? You think as long as like the texture is the same, shades don't matter, shades matter, texture doesn't matter? Let me know. Skin is looking good. Here we got our drugstore side. Here we got our high-end side. When it comes to powder puffs, I just like these. There's no dupe in sight for me. There's e.l.f. e.l.f. is okay. It's not my favorite. I just don't think it sets the under eyes well. These two right here. This one, the only thing is like they only have like 4 shades. The way both of these are pressed are very, very similar. That's important because what I love about both of these is that they're not super pressed hard, in which you can't get the product on your powder puff. It's pigmented, but not too pigmented. It's basically a perfect translucent pressed powder. We know Huda Beauty's like a dupe, or this is a dupe to Huda Beauty, but something I found that's very dupeable is the Mario one. I think these are very, very similar in texture, very finely milled. I love to talk about how a powder is finely milled. Having a powder that is finely milled and that has multiple shades is important. We need powders to have minimum 3 shades. We can. Maybelline has, I think has like 6 or 7 shades. This is Maybelline on my middle finger. Here is Mario on my index finger. A finely milled powder is literally going to stick on your finger like this. This is Maybelline, this is Mario. The reason this stickiness is important is because this stickiness is gonna stick onto your skin. That's what makes your look flawless. The powder is not finely milled. It's not going to really have anything to stick onto, especially on your face. Therefore, things are not going to look smooth. Maybelline has a ton of shades. Mario, I'm using this peach shade. I love it so much. I like a very bright under eye. This is where this pressed powder comes in. This is what's going to provide that brightness. So we're going to get our powder puff with the Revlon powder first, like that, right? You're going to press it in so you even that powder out. We're going to get rid of any creases. Concentrate this right here. Press, 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 press. Keep it in the eye area. Look straight ahead. The reason I like a bright under eye is because I have dark under eyes, right? That brightness is basically the opposite of what I have going on. And you know, we always want what we don't have. I'm gonna get some of my Maybelline and kind of add it here in the inner corner. Press everything in. Continue to press. Perfect. We have the perfect under eye. Our Tower 28. Get Set in Palisades Pink. Revlon has like a bit of a pink undertone. Palisades Pink is a little like a paler pink. Again, I'm going to press, get rid of creases, press, do the same exact thing. I feel like the Revlon one is a smidge more pigmented now that I'm looking at it. It gives a little more brightness, right? But it's okay. We're just gonna press, 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 press. Make sure you're getting all your fine lines. What's really gonna get all your fine lines is this loose powder, because you see the looseness of it. It gets all like the nooks and crannies of your face or your eye. Press, 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 press. Oh wow, these are similar. Sometimes when I'm reviewing makeup, it's like it just pops in my head. Does that happen to you? Where I'm like, wait, we got something similar. We have something similar. And it's these foundation finishing powders. This is technically a mattifying foundation powder. This is a finishing powder, but honestly, they both literally work the same. These are the shades. I have the shade tan and this is sand. But textures, oh no, in NYX, I'm sorry, it's not tan, it's medium. I usually use tan. The sand from Rare Beauty is literally melting in my hand. Like this is sand if you could see it. This is medium. Medium's a little bit too light. I'm typically tan. I should have bought tanned when I was at Ulta buying a few things that I was missing for this video. I forgot. These brushes are kind of similar. We're gonna set the skin with this foundation powder. Setting your face with a foundation powder, finishing powder that has color will help prevent flashback. Us brown skin girls, we know about that because we don't want our face to look white. And you could see that a lot of times in photos, but sometimes you could just look at yourself and be like, whoa, my foundation's not matching my neck. When I'm not reviewing a foundation, I like to do the first set with a foundation powder or something that has color like this. And do like a light set. Because I have oily skin, I love powders. I think powders are so needed. Not only does it give color, makes your skin blur, it holds things together. Both of these are very lightweight powders. This is just like a light wash of color. It's not a full-on set, but we'll get to that part. Ooh, powders are my jam. It's hard to dupe this one. This is my favorite bronzing powder. The closest one I feel like is L'Oreal. I hit pan because I really like this one. So let's get it in the shade Matte Deep Rosy. These come in a matte version and a skin finish version. The version I have is the matte because I love me some matte. Then we're gonna go here and then here. Just like a little wash of color, right? But remember, we already have the bronzer, the cream bronzer. We're gonna get L'Oreal. I like it. I will say like high-end bronzers, they come through. I love this NYX bronzer, butter bronzers. It's definitely not a dupe. Do like an honorable mention for this one. It's so good. This one has more of a skin finish, so it's not super matte. Very pigmented. A little bit goes a long way. If you want more, you could definitely build. Just keep in mind with very pigmented products in general, start off with the light hand and see how you like it. Blushes were hard. I love me a good blush. And you know how much I've loved Armani and I have been together for a while. I really like this shade, especially shade number 30. Orange shade and also Amore, which is the rose shade. We're gonna use this one because this is what I found like the best. I feel like these are very vibrant orange blushes. This brush, again, because these are very pigmented, a little bit goes a long way. Our drugstore side, you see, is just, oh, Armani. This brush is clean, so I really want to get that product in there. These give you such a flush of color. Go on so soft, so silky, so smooth. Damn, these are a lot more similar than I thought. Yeah, they are. Let's swatch. NYX, Armani. Oh, you see, this is what I'm talking about. You see how Armani is like a flush of color, but it's buildable? You see how NYX, it's pow. It's like pigment in your face. As I was swatching them, they feel very similar. Highlight blush. If you just want to do a two-in-one, like a blush, don't add blush like I just did and add this. This is great. This is the shade Happy. This is the shade Dulce Pink. Look how similar they are. And I, of course, will have everything linked for you, tagged for you. You can click here on the screen so you can see the products. Wow, these are similar. Happy, Dulce Pink. These are always going to be sheer. Just add a little bit. I just want a little bit of highlight, like right here. We're gonna get Rares. Ooh, Rares is a little more pigmented for sure. Some powder, clean this up. This is the Maybelline powder right here. Some of the Mario powder right here. Just add some bronzer and I'll be back. As I was thinking, I'm like, wait, I'm going to an event. I want to have like a little eyeshadow moment. Did we know this? I think we did. I think we did. Let's set the skin. I'm gonna use this, my screen protector. Milani Make It Last, literally one of my faves. It's gonna help hold things, but for the most part, it's going to mesh, right? And when we mesh, we're meshing in like this too. We're gonna get our powder puff, our bronzing brush. This is just gonna intensify a little more if you want it. You don't have to do this. We're gonna get a little bit of the blush, just kind of bring it up. This is just gonna also finalize your look. Same thing goes for Urban Decay. Oh, for sure, Urban Decay sprays a little more while your skin's a little damp, a little damperoo. Imagine, like, you know how sometimes you can wet your brush and then grab a little bit of blush and it will intensify? This is exactly that same process. Right. These powders right here, Lunar Beauty, it's kind of high-end, and Milani are literally the same. These powders are not so finely milled like we talked about earlier. However, these work well for this process to finish off your base and to make your base look extremely flawless. Because we have a lot of highlight going on, you could see texture. I have big pores. I don't use filters in my videos, so you'll always see like all my business. If you want to look like you have a filter on, you're gonna get this type of powder. This loose powder is like very thin. I wouldn't call it transparent, but they're so thin textured. That's what makes it work well as a finishing powder. Or if you've worn your makeup 5-6 hours and you're a little shiny, if you tap yourself with the Milani powder, game changer, game changer. So it's just kind of added here in the center where like all the pores are. This also, it just locks it up. I like to get the brush that I use, that foundation, the powder foundation, like this powder, because the texture of it kind of can leave a white cast, and it's not the color, it's just the texture. You see, even the Lunar Beauty powder, it does the same thing, although you have to be careful because you don't want to stay with that white cast. So I would always suggest to blend it in with the brush. You see how smooth this is? You know, this video couldn't end without these two. This is an actual setting spray. This will make your makeup last all day long. It won't mesh in like the first ones we use. This is literally gonna set. You can't do anything else because this is how your makeup's gonna look. L'Oreal. It looks and feels and smells like hairspray. If you don't like that, don't use this. Same for the one size. You can always go back in. This part of layering, I know it feels and looks like a lot, but I promise you, mascaras is a hard one. The ones I found that maybe do, these are very in question. I don't wear falsies. I double up on mascara because I like to have my lashes look so voluminous. Found that using a lengthening mascara first helps with length. Topping it off with a voluminous mascara gives you that volume, and the two mascaras just make your lashes look super, super thick. My lengthenings, I would be like, these are these two right here. This is technically a voluminous, but because it's so wet, I feel like it does a great job of lengthening and volumizing. Does a great job of lengthening and lifting. Let me show you the wands. They're different. Typically, if the wands are similar, they're doing very similar things. These wands are very different. So that's why I'm like, let's see if it's a dupe. We're adding a Sky High. When it comes to layering your mascara, you want to move quickly. I love my lash separator from Real Techniques. I use all the time. So I'm going to move into that anti-gravity from Milani. This one will really give good volume. You really want to grab your lashes from the root and roll. Going from the root and rolling will help your lashes look so bomb. And again, it's layering. It's all about layering your makeup, and that goes for everything. Once your mascara is dry, you don't really want to keep going back in, especially if you have fine lashes like mine, because the product could either look too spidery or become too heavy for your lashes. Therefore, they're just going to be weighed down all day long. So that's why I'm just going in right now, and then once it's dry, it's a done deal. This is the drugstore side. Let's go in with Highend and let's really see the taste. This one does a great job separating. Look at the wands for YSL and Milani. Oh yeah, they're so different. Milani, YSL. Thing about the YSL one, it does deposit a lot of product on the wand, so I always like to clean it up. Can easily weigh our lashes down. Definitely, we have a lot more volume on the high-end side than the drugstore side. You see, these just look so full. These two right here, they're just magic. Literal magic. Okay, after scouring all of my lip liners to find these. My favorite type of lip liner is a matte lip liner. Why? Because matte lip liners tend to hold your product in your lip. If you have small lips like me, you know what I'm talking about. Matte lip liners have now become a thing. I don't like my lips to smudge, and a matte lip liner is going to prevent all that. Especially, you know me, I love to eat. This, my dears, is what I found as a dupe. I'm duping these because the textures are literally the same. They're creamy matte. They're not just matte, and the colors are very similar. This is Fenty. It's gonna be the one closest to my pinky. So we have a deeper shade and a lighter shade of brown. You know, I'm a brown girl. Ooh, okay, Maybelline, they're the same, they're similar. Fenty's down here, Maybelline's down here. Oh my god, look how similar. Maybelline's is a little more mauve, the lighter shade. This is Fenty's. But Maybelline's shades are, the deep shade is Cross the Line. On it goes inside. Blend. Now Fenty in Browned Out. The lighter shade in Fenty is PNut Butta. Oh, looking at the lipsticks I have, let's see, these can be duped. So this is Milani. This is Makeup Forever. Makeup Forever is a little matte. Look, Milani, Makeup Forever. Oh, the shades are a little different. I was taking my thumbnail picture and my lip colors. This was too much fun. It looks good. This is the drugstore side. Eyebrows, bronzer, blush, foundation, lip. This is the high-end side. Same. Do you see a difference? Hold on. Honestly, I don't. Looking at it, things look very similar besides the lip. Before I added the lipstick, my lips they look better. So, dupe. What do you think? Do you think we have dupes? I really love how everything turned out. Everything looks very, very similar. Main difference, especially doing this video, Highend has more shades and better shades. I didn't think so until I started doing this. Yeah, but these are only the products I use today. There's several different brands at the drugstore and Highend that I did not use today, so I can't talk about those. Doing this video, I do find that the Highend have more pigment, have a better shade. Huda foundation, although e.l.f. I think is a dupe, the Huda foundation has a little more pigment in it. The primers are literally the same. Eyebrows, the same. The mascara, like I told you guys, it's really hard to find a dupe, and I'm in the hunt. Let me know if you know of any. The voluminous mascara volume part is what makes your eyelashes look this thick. The blushes, like the Milani liquid blush and the Luminoso, the shiny, these blushes are dupe. I think they're literally the same from Rare Beauty and Tarte. This was very similar too. And you know, when you apply things at the same time, you can really see the look, feel, and how things blend out. Cream bronzer, they're similar, but I wouldn't say they're not an exact dupe. Concealers, I do feel Milani is a dupe. It's just the shade is not there yet, but the consistency and texture is the same. If you have the Milani concealer and it's your perfect shade, it really is a dupe for Hourglass. The powders, I feel like the powders worked out very, very well. This is definitely a dupe for this one. And the lip products, literally the same thing, creamy and matte. And look, let's disregard the shade. Setting sprays, literally the same. This one, L'Oreal at one side. We're pretty much duped out today. Do you like dupe videos? Do you like drugstore? Do you prefer high-end? What are your thoughts? I honestly prefer both. I think they both work very, very well. If you're on a budget, the drugstore has come through and has really revamped and updated through the years. I feel like every year the drugstore gets better and we have more variety. I love mainly high-end bases. Like foundations are literally my favorite, and mascaras, as you can tell. We will be chit-chatting in the comments because this was too much fun. Let me insert the wear test here. And if anything changes, I will let you know during the wear test. Girl, let's remember, this is high-end, drugstore. In front of the window here we are. Drugstore here. What do you think? Drugstore side. High-end side. Ooh. Here, so similar. Huh. I'm loving the blush. It looks so good. But I like a lot. Okay, let's appreciate this glam. Oh my god, these dupes. This is the high-end side. Highend definitely looks a tad bit better, I think. You can't really see pores. Everything looks so well. Here too, the drugstore side looks good too. You can see my pores like a little bit, just like slightly. Girl, this glam is glamming. We definitely have some great dupes here. I love it. It looks so freaking good. Oh, another thing. Remember how I told you the Milani powder is like the Lunar Beauty powder? It's also like the Polite Society Nude powder. It creates such a flawless blurred base. Milani's a dupe to this one too. Ooh, I love it. I love it. It looks so good. Of course, what do you think? Dupe looks better? Highend looks better. Let me know. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will have everything linked and tagged for you down below. This is it. I love you guys so much. Thank you for hanging out with me and spending a little bit of your day with me. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, click the button right there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.